Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered which languages are the absolute hardest to learn today? We're diving deep into the linguistic world to count down the top 5 most difficult languages for English speakers to master. These languages will challenge your brain with new alphabets, mind-bending grammar, and sounds you never knew existed. So, if you're a language enthusiast or just curious, stick around. This is going to be a fascinating journey. Let's start our list with a language that often surprises people when they see it on a difficult list: Russian. Coming in at number 5, Russian presents a significant challenge right from the start with its Cyrillic alphabet. While some letters might look familiar, they often represent completely different sounds. For example, what looks like a P is actually an R sound, and what looks like a B is a V. It takes some serious unlearning of your existing alphabet knowledge. But the alphabet is just the beginning. The real beast in Russian is its grammar. The language uses a complex case system. This means that nouns, pronouns, and adjectives change their endings depending on their function in a sentence, whether they are the subject, object, or something else. There are 6 cases in Russian, and each has its own set of endings that change based on gender and number. This requires a huge amount of memorization and practice to get right. Then there's the pronunciation. Russian has sounds that don't exist in English, like the hard sign and the soft sign, which modify the pronunciation of the consonants around them. The rolled R is another classic hurdle. And let's not forget about verb aspects. Russian verbs come in pairs, one for a completed action and one for an ongoing or repeated action. Knowing which one to use is a constant challenge for learners. So, while it's a beautiful and rich language, Russian definitely earned its spot on our list. Next up, at number 4, we have Korean. Now, you might be thinking, but isn't the Korean alphabet Hangul supposed to be super easy? And you'd be right. Hangul is incredibly logical and often praised as one of the most scientific writing systems in the world. You can learn to read and write basic Korean in just a couple of hours, so why is it on this list? Well, the difficulty with Korean has nothing to do with its alphabet and everything to do with its grammar. The sentence structure is completely different from English. In English, we typically use a subject-object order, like I eat an apple. In Korean, the structure is subject-object-verb, so it would be I and apple eat. This fundamental difference requires you to completely rewire your brain when forming sentences. Furthermore, Korean grammar relies heavily on particles, which are small suffixes attached to words to indicate their grammatical function. There are particles for the subject, the topic, the object, the location, and so on. Choosing the correct particle is a major part of speaking Korean correctly. But perhaps the biggest challenge is the system of honorifics. Korean is a hierarchical language, meaning the way you speak changes dramatically depending on who you are talking to. You have to adjust your vocabulary, verb endings, and even pronouns based on the age and social status of the person you're addressing. There are multiple levels of formality, from casual speech with friends to highly formal speech used with elders or in professional settings. Mastering this social and linguistic complexity is a lifelong study, making Korean a truly difficult language to master. Climbing up to number 3 on our list is Japanese. Like Korean, Japanese presents a unique set of challenges that go far beyond just learning new words. First off, the writing system is a triple threat. Japanese uses not 1, not 2, but 3 different scripts simultaneously. First, there's Hiragana, a phonetic script used for native Japanese words and grammatical elements. Then there's Katakana, another phonetic script used primarily for foreign loanwords, names, and for emphasis. These 2 are relatively straightforward to learn. But then comes Kanji. Kanji are characters borrowed from Chinese, and there are thousands of them. Each kanji can have multiple pronunciations depending on the context in which it's used. To be literate in Japanese, you need to know at least 2,000 kanji. This requires an immense amount of rote memorization, and it's a hurdle that trips up many learners. Beyond the writing system, Japanese grammar is also very different from English. Like Korean, it follows a subject-object-verb sentence structure. It also uses particles to mark the function of words in a sentence, and similar to Korean, Japanese has an extensive system of honorifics, or kigo. This means you have different levels of politeness for speaking to different people. There's respectful language, humble language, and polite language, each with its own vocabulary and verb conjugations. Using the wrong level of politeness can be a serious social blunder. The combination of 3 writing systems and complex social grammar firmly places Japanese at number 3 on our list of most difficult languages. Now we're getting to the top 2. And at number 2 we have Arabic. Arabic is a language of immense beauty and history, but for an English speaker, it is incredibly challenging. The first and most obvious hurdle is the script. Arabic is written from right to left, which is a complete reversal for our brains. The script itself is cursive, meaning the letters connect, and the shape of a letter can change depending on its position in a word, whether it's S at the beginning, middle, or end. Pronunciation is another major difficulty. Arabic has many guttural sounds produced deep in the throat that are completely alien to English speakers. Mastering sounds like the ain and the qaf takes a lot of practice and can be physically difficult at first. The grammar is also highly complex. Verbs come before the subject, and nouns have 3 grammatical cases, 2 genders, and 3 numbers, singular, dual, and plural. Yes, you read that right. Arabic has a specific form for when there are exactly 2 of something, but perhaps the biggest challenge of all is the dialectal variation. The formal written Arabic, known as Modern Standard Arabic, is used in books, news broadcasts, and formal speeches across the Arab world. However, the spoken dialects can be vastly different from country to country, and even from city to city. A speaker from Morocco might have a hard time understanding a speaker from Iraq, even though they are both speaking Arabic. This means that learning the language for communication often requires learning both modern standard Arabic and a specific regional dialect, effectively learning 2 languages at once. And finally, we've reached the top spot. The language widely considered to be the most difficult in the world for native English speakers is Mandarin Chinese. Why is Mandarin so notoriously tough? First and foremost, the writing system. Like Japanese, it uses characters called Hanzi, but unlike Japanese, there is no phonetic alphabet to fall back on. Every single word has its own unique character or combination of characters. To read a newspaper, you need to know 2,000 to 3,000 characters. To be considered well-educated, you need to know many more. Each character must be memorized individually, its shape, its meaning, and its pronunciation. And speaking of pronunciation, this brings us to the second major hurdle. Mandarin is a tonal language. This means the pitch or contour of your voice when you say a word can completely change its meaning. For example, the syllable ma can mean mother, hemp, horse, or to scold, depending on whether you say it with a high, rising, or falling tone. For English speakers, who use tone for emphasis or emotion but not for meaning, this concept is incredibly difficult to grasp and even harder to produce correctly. Getting the tones wrong can lead to some very confusing or embarrassing conversations. The grammar is often said to be simpler than many European languages, no verb conjugations, no gender, no tenses in the way we think of them, but it has its own complexities, like a heavy reliance on word order and the use of measure words, which are special words you have to use when counting things. For example, you can't just say 3 books, you have to say 3 Ben books, where Ben is the measure word for books. There are hundreds of these measure words to learn. So, with its non-phonetic writing system requiring thousands of hours of memorization and its complex tonal system, Mandarin Chinese takes the crown as our #1 most difficult language to learn. But here's the most important thing to remember. Difficult doesn't mean impossible. Millions of people successfully learn these languages every year. It just takes a huge amount of time, dedication, and the right motivation. Every language on this list is a gateway to a rich and fascinating culture, and the reward of learning one is immeasurable. So what do you think? Have you tried learning any of these languages? Do you agree with our list? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your own language learning experiences. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. See you next time.